Alright, we are back again on GT Sport, this time in the Suzuka GP circuit in Group 2 cars. This is the first time I have driven a Group 2 car, especially in a race where tire wear and fuel usage is in use. Pretty much everybody was in the Nissan GTR, so it was going to be quite an even race in terms of pace. But at this point of recording, I was still a B-rated driver in sportsmanship rating, so I was preparing for the worst. So yeah, you are in for a treat. Coming into the first turn, all I could think about was somebody pushing me into the shadow round and making sure that I didn't slow down too much, but at the same time keeping myself from punting the driver ahead. The driver ahead does slow down a bit coming out of turn 1, and I was able to take the lead from there. This is where things get really tricky as we are wheel to wheel, and out of nowhere the guy on the right slams me hard. I don't know what he thought he was doing, as I was doing my best to give him enough space. With dirty tires, I'm trying my best to get some traction, but as I'm trying to stop myself from spinning out, the same guy crashes into me, sending me off to the gravel again. I do think this time it may have been my fault, as he hit me right as I lost control, and now I'm all the way at the end of the grid. As I'm getting back on my pace again, I noticed the guy we had our crash with was also slowing down, and I think he was trying his best to push me off again. And I was right. As I came out of Gr.2, he doesn't even bother braking and comes crashing into me. So I'm trying to get back into the race with tires that are dirtier than a public toilet, and coming into the hairpin, I don't have any grip at all. And by the time I make the corner, I notice that the guy who pushed me off has also rage quit. So now we are down to 15 drivers in the lobby, and you would notice that rage quitting is quite the trend in this lobby. Now in the second lap, I spent the entirety of the first lap playing catch up with the rest, so I end up reaching a cluster of drivers at the hairpin, which in the GTR is difficult to execute as you have the tendency to get on the throttle too early and screw it up, which as you can see the driver in front does exactly that. Coming up on spoon, which are two corners, if you can get it right, can give you a lot of speed coming out of it, but it's something that I have struggled consistently, and you can see that other drivers seem to struggle with it as well. And coming out of the second corner, you can see that somebody else has screwed it up, and he ends up rage quitting, which doesn't surprise me. Coming into Casio Triangle, the driver on 12th seems to struggle quite a bit, but we are only 2 laps in, so I don't think he's having any issues with tire wear. It's just that chicane can be quite tricky, especially if you get on the throttle while on the curbs. Skipping over to the second sector to come out of Gr.2, I'm close enough to Puddle Pusher to put some pressure on him, and as he goes wide into the hairpin, I slide onto the inside and come out of the corner taking 11th place. I don't know why Puddle Pusher got a 1-second penalty, but all the way to Spoon I'm trying to stay on the racing line and keep him from taking my position again. Coming into Spoon, I can already see someone has made his way onto the shadow realm without any help, and since he has a penalty to serve, I get to move up a position for free. And since both of the drivers behind me had penalties to serve, I didn't have to worry about any traffic coming into Casio Triangle and beyond to the 4th lap. We skip almost to the end of the 4th lap to the 3rd sector, and I have caught up with 7th and 8th positions, but catching up with them on the straight was going to be difficult. Coming into the chicane of Casio Triangle, the two cars ahead are having the time of their life trying to maintain control of their worn out tires. But instead of overtaking them, I drive into the pits for a new set of tires. The race was limited to medium tires and we had enough fuel to last the entire race. We skip once again to the hairpin where we catch up to a Godzillas in the 8th position, and I was close enough to put some pressure but not close enough to make a move. So coming to Spoon at the first corner, a court stays wide and I was able to lunge forward into the opening right before he makes a turn. It was risky, but I end up making probably one of the cleanest overtakes I have ever done in this game. Also, you can notice that there are now 9 people in the lobby, whereas when I left the pits there was still 10 people. So somebody probably ended up rage quitting somewhere in between. Coming up here, I almost screwed it up because the guy in the 6th position makes a wrong turn and just resets himself, with the only Lexus in the lobby somehow getting a 1-second penalty. I end up giving him a nudge forward and then we go on our way to start our 6th lap. The driver that's coming out of the pits decides he's not gonna stay on the allocated space and just barges right into the Lexus, and I almost crash into him, but I brake just enough to avoid a collision. That was entirely the fault of the yellow GTR. Had he stayed on the right, he could have avoided ruining somebody else's race. Coming into Gr.2 1 for the 6th time, I noticed that Lexus has quit the lobby, and now what was supposed to be a lobby of 17 people was down to 8. This tells me the people really don't plan out their course of action based on where they start on the grid, and they just try to get up on the grid without any consideration for others around them, as you saw in this race. At least this was the case in B sportsmanship rating. So I really hope this is not a thing in A-rated lobbies. With 4 laps still to go, I thought the 6th position was the best I could do. But coming out of Spoon, the yellow GTR screws it up. This is probably karma coming back to bite him for what he did to the Lexus before. So I get up to 5th position. We skip all the way to the end of the race, and with my tires really worn out, I was struggling quite a bit, almost losing control coming out of the chicane at Casio Triangle. So we end the race finishing at 5th position. I know we could have done better if we had not made the mistakes that we did early on. And I did get a podium in another race the next day, but I wanted to show you this race because I really do think you shouldn't rage quit, especially when you're trying to improve your SR rating. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next week.